I just jumped on for a few minutes. I just grabbed a little snacky snack. I just got loaded up. It's been busy, very busy, and so I'm glad I got to participate a little bit in Uncle Tony's live tonight. And I also hope maybe you've possibly seen my video I posted. So if you have any questions about that, you're more than welcome. I don't know how long we'll stay. It's late. It's nutty night time, and I didn't get a sleepy pill, so it's gonna be a little rough on the sleep. You know what I mean? Because it's just you gotta crest that about 9 o'clock, man. 9 o'clock is about the time to hit it, so you can get to bed. You know, sometimes it just all depends. It's like maybe 10, 11, 12. Just depends how you slow the brain down. But anywho, I was thinking about Rich B. He sent a thing, and I sent them on the little group. We were talking about, what was it? That one was like $40-something for a service call. And I think I just seen another one for A1 for 54, 95. That 95 cents, man, is just gonna kick my hiney. But I have a feeling that's the way it might go. I do believe. You might have to lower the service call. You might have to upsell when you're there. Green tea. That's right, green tea. You know, what I was thinking about, Rich, was I was watching that, and I was looking at the thing, and I was like, wow, this is like from 8 years ago. And I was wondering, I was like, is green tea still around? I mean, they sound like they had kind of a thing going, but I've never, ever heard of them, unless they're the green tea that changed over to the precision, the green precision. Maybe they found out that we don't need to do all of that stuff. We don't need to do landscaping and window treatments or whatever else they were doing. We just do garage doors, and we charge a buttload and make a buttload of money. What's up, Nate? How are you? What's been new out there? It's a common trend, man. I'm seeing it. I was going to tell this. I was thinking about it because when PT was telling his Lowe's story, and what happened is I was on his channel there, and of course A1 was at the top promoting. Hopefully they send them some money, you know, for being above them like that. That wasn't very nice of them. But I was thinking how, I guess I heard through the little birdie that oh, don't forget, if you're cruising through, hit the like button. Just helps wake up the elbow. I'd really appreciate it. But I heard through a little birdie that AFD got a bill from A1. And it's a long story. I don't know if I have all the details remembered in my brain here, but basically a door got installed. The door lost a cable. Something with basically like a grandma. Grandma was talking. There was like, I don't want to say it was like, how do I say it? It was like nobody's fault. Does that make sense? It was like nobody's fault. It is what it is. So basically grandma called. The door was a year and a month out of warranty. I particularly wouldn't care if it's you know what I mean. We're not dealing with cars, you know what I mean. We're dealing with garage doors. If it's a year and a month, you know. Now if it was one of those Lift Masters or Chamberlains, then I just give it to them, right? Say you know. No, I'm just kidding. That's probably more like a Performax. But anyway, so grandma called. Some stuff was exchanged, you know. It's going to be a service call, yada, yada, yada. The daughter gets involved. The daughter, something's not really right, doesn't like something, whatever. So calls A1. A1 comes out. Of course, they blow up the install. Oh, they did this. Now, mind you, we did our technician there. He chunked in a piece of weather seal. That's a no-no. Shouldn't be doing that. So like I said, but why'd the cable come off? Was it a broom? Was it not installed right? Did the drum slip? We will never know because we never got to go back. They did go back after there was a bill submitted for $500. So I want you to think about that. That's what the key is here. So they charge 50 some dollars, maybe 65. I've been hearing 50s to 60s, somewhere in there. But then they come out, right? Now they didn't put up new weather seal, but they took pictures of it. That was just putting a cable on. That's not changing rollers. The door was a new door, and there was nothing. Just putting the rollers back on, making a few adjustments, right? They made pictures of stuff like with the level on the track and something was off, making it all just like, oh my gosh, the install on this was horrendous, And they charged $500. So what I'm getting at is that you have to think about how they're working that system. Because there's people out there that are calling, and when they just hear it's 50 something for a service call versus 120 or 400 and something, you know what I mean? But then if you can make the transaction, right, you go out there for the lower price, but then you hit them, right, for the higher price, something you got to think about. What's up, Mr. Evan? Is it 110? What's up, 110? Yes, I'm trying to find their radio. All right. From Turkey? What's up, Turkey? Hope you're doing good. So it might be something, because like Evan, I don't know. Evan, do you have like any of the A1s or Precision? You probably just have like what, overhead maybe? I'm just curious. What's up, BT? So it's something to consider. Oh, PT, what I was thinking, right? We never implemented it, but we were always talking about it. It never really got to fruition. I don't know if it'll ever happen to fruition, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's very irritating. Like, you know what I'm saying, man? You know what I'm saying? Like me and you, we're like this. We're like this, man. Our customers, it's like Rich B. We're just all like this, man. You know what I mean? Like, so I've had it. And so it's almost really irritating for customers. But what I've thought about, right, what I always was thinking is it was kind of like something almost like the dentist office, like kind of similar, but more or less. So, but basically you would charge them up front and say, look, for us to put you on the schedule, we need a credit card. And really, the credit card, all the credit card's doing is validating that they have a credit card and that they have money. You know what I mean? And then you put that on there, tell them, say, this is non-refundable. This could be, you can put it whatever. You can say this could be applied to your bill, but this is non-refundable. Now that's really tough because obviously the market's getting saturated. And you got guys, if you're going to charge $30 and for $54.99, I'll come out and we'll take good care of you. Well, then you're kind of screwed, aren't you? You know what I mean? So, and it's cumbersome, right? You gotta deal with the customer. They gotta get a credit card. Maybe enter the credit card wrong. Maybe they gave you a bad credit card. You gotta call them back. Hey, your credit card didn't, and I don't know. There's not a lot of ways to really mitigate that part. I couldn't imagine, because I guess the only thing you could do, is one of my holy grails is like, I mean, when I was pushing hard in the van all the time, my biggest thing was call. That was it. But you obviously still got a window. If it takes you 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get out there, there's still that window. There's still that window of variabilities. You know what I mean? There's the unknown. So that sucks. So, you show up and Yeah, yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one. But that's why it'd be nice, if you, in the perfect world, if you were getting money up front to like, I'm very busy, very busy. So I put you on the schedule, and to take up my time, I'm charging you $30. And here's the thing, right? Here's what I noticed one time. So this is what got me, right? This was the 1-2 punch in the gut, kind of sucker punch. We were working on a job one time, and we were all in sync. We were working on a fence job, big fence job, working after hours, working late, burning up the summer sun. And anyways, they get a call. They take one of the technicians, and I remember the door was stuck open or something. So it was like kind of like a code red. So that technician had to leave, and it was like, man, it's like that's a bummer, because it was like one was digging post, one was setting post, one was like pouring mud. I don't remember the combination, but it was a beautiful orchestra. We had it just fine tuned. And now you take this technician, which on this job, this technician was like worth $300 right now. You know what I mean? Like an hour, because this job it paid good and everything, right? So this is what gets me a little bit about because trust me, I like cash. And like I've heard before, which I'm a big believer, right? Cash is simple. Remember that. Keep it small, keep it all, and cash is simple. So anyways, he goes out there, the technician, and he was a little bit panicked at first. He's like, oh my gosh, the door's stuck open, it's gonna be crooked. And we're like, just calm down, calm down. If you need help, you got this thing called a smartphone. You call us. One of us will come out. One of us will come out, and if like, don't do nothing. We'll drive out there. But anyways, he got out there. He figured it out. Well, anyways, he charged the customer, I don't know what it was. It was either 65, 85, 120. I don't know what it was. Anyways, this customer is going to pay cash. This customer doesn't have all the money. Now, mind you, the secretary already pre-qualified. That's what we do here. We pre-qualify. And told the customer how much it was going to be. Just the minimum. It's going to be a minimum of 85 or 120 to come out, blah, 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 blah. And this customer didn't have the money. And it's like, so the technician took it in his own hands that he didn't get paid full. They come back the next morning, supposedly the customer had another partial payment, but not the full payment. Now, mind you, he went back again. The customer's not there. So he's gone there like 3 times. And it's like, this is flipping ridiculous. So that's why I partially kind of like the credit cards, because at least, not always, it's not that they couldn't charge back or do some other crazy stuff. It means that typically they kind of got their shit in order. You know what I mean? Like they know how to pay their bills. You know what I'm saying? Like they got an Amazon, they got this, they got that. They know how the cycle kind of works. So that was another reason for charging the 30 to validate that they have a credit card. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're a human. You're part of the matrix. You drink the Kool-Aid. Because just never know. Just never know. I want to be in your group. Same wavelength. To join work travel program in U.S. Does it? I don't know. I don't know about the work travel. Is it worth it? With competition, head to the top and leave them behind. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but maybe there's more money to be made once you're there. You know what I mean? Why would you want to charge them? I mean, could you imagine? Let's just say it was a $5,000. You call, customer calls and you're like, we have a $5,000 service call. And you're like, what? Now, like, I remember like that plumbing situation that I had, and the one company calls me and they're like, we're looking at the records and the pump is like X amount of years old. And you're probably going to need a whole new system. It's going to be like $5,000. I was like, yeah. I was like, if somebody could just like come out, like I get that you gotta charge me $100 or $200 or $300 for a service call, but like if somebody can come out, because I really think it's a breaker or it's the contactors on a pump, like I think that's all that's wrong. But I mean, hey, if it's sucking sand or something, like and the guy came out, it was like $400, and he took care of the whole thing, um, and you're happy to give the money. Yeah, Rich says, I always keep my customers updated on what time I'll be there, make contact first in the morning, and then when I'm away. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a big advocate, like before I would pull out of this driveway, before my tires hit that pavement, that 5-laner, I was like, ring, ring, ring. I mean, I pull off to the side of the driveway, I'd be sitting right out there. Hi, Miss Customer. I'm heading your way, and they're like, okay, I'll be here waiting for you, and it's like, okay, probably better off giving a little description. I'll be driving a red van, I'm Dave, I'm with Affordable Door and Gate, um, so she's all happy, and some guy shows up in a black truck, and she's like, who are you? Go away. I don't know. Starting a new garage door business in today's time. Been thinking about taking course starting on my own. So I sure want to go the garage route or another trade. Just me personally. Boy, I don't know. Maybe Rich would have a little bit of input in this too. I don't know why. I really like the HVAC. HVAC is I don't know. Throw some ideas in there, Rich. What do you think? I mean, HVAC just seems a little more. It's definitely like. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of problems in HVAC compared to garage doors with all the systems, but I don't know. I think it takes a little more skill, in my opinion, and I think it's better. It could be better pay possibly, and I mean, like, how cool is it like to work on your own stuff, or like if you have properties and stuff like that, you know how to like address that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's just me, but the garage doors it's not bad, but it's getting that's my video. If you watch that video I just posted today, I'm talking a little bit about kind of the saturation. I think I've seen like 2 or 3 again in the last 6 months, and it just depends. I mean, there's money, and I mean, there was a kid around. I don't know if it was like in the news somewhere. I remember he was like taking out people's garbage cans, and I was like, he was charging like whatever, like $5 or $10, $50 a month for like a subscription, and you pulled people's garbage cans out to the road so they didn't have to. I mean, just depends on demographics, depends on your resources, depends on how much competition you have. There's just a lot of things, but I'm not going to say like yes or no. It's just, you really want to don't do your homework, and don't forget to hit the like button, please. I said please. Oh, and the course I think is not really necessary. I think if you do enough time on YouTube University, or hang around some great guys that are on this channel, or including myself, you can learn a lot, and you can have a lot of network basically for free, and it's a lot of just trial and error. I mean, there's really not much, it's just, you gotta just start small, make baby steps. But the course thing, I think I'd rather see you spend your money in tools or something. Oh, that tastes good. Oh yeah, putting the cable. Training course. Yeah, I don't. You gotta remember. It depends. What's the training course? Well, I'm just curious. What's the training course cost? Is it the $1,200 or $1,500 or $1,600? Ooh, crawl space. Yeah, that's true. So if you're a younger lad, that's a good point. If you're a younger lad, maybe the HVAC is the way to go. But if you're older, like that's with me. It's like I love the trees. I still love cutting trees down, but I don't want to do it every day for a living, man. That's some brutal work. Just like concrete, I love concrete, but and I like HVAC too, but I like it with little portions. Was 19 looking to start garage door business after working at a local competitor for 6-12 months. Any advice? Gosh, man, for 6 or 12 months, I feel like I'd want a little more. I could maybe a little more experience. I mean, after a year, I did kind of understand the concept, but it's one of those things. Just remember, like, when you get in business, man, like if you don't have stuff set up, I mean, there is so much. There's like DBAs, there's stuff with a county building, there's stuff with Google, there's stuff with getting a phone, and do you get another phone number? I mean, like in today's market, I always felt like at least I wanted 30 grand. That's what I wanted. I guess I still feel like I'm in the 30 to 50,000. I'd want 30 or 50,000 before I would jump into the door business. Now that depends, right? Now if you're living in mom's basement or mom or dad's, whatever, well, you can take a little more risk. You know what I'm saying? But if you got bills and for me it was always a cash flow. You were dying. I was dying. You know what I mean? Like you're some weeks you're making 2 grand, some weeks you're making $400, and then if you got a business partner or a helper, the money can just be all over the place. And then it's like you start getting into, oh, we need more power tools, and we need a bigger truck, and we need this, and so it's a lot of where if I could have started with 30, instead of starting with scratch, and especially when we had a customer of ours that was a good customer, but neglected to pay us 10 grand back in 2007. That hurt. That hurt a lot. You know what I mean? Especially when you basically have like no money. So if we would have had more working, but the things is back then everybody was so busy that you could just start and it was just like a gold rush. We got a company around here. I think it starts with a B. I don't really want to state it. I got to ask the wifetron if she tried to spam them, and it really ticks me off because we had a customer I heard through the grapevine that it was for a 9x7, and they said they called this company with the B, and that this company it was for a 9x7, not insulated, but they wanted $4,000 to install the door, but they needed half down right now for $2,000 for them to keep that door. And then come to find out this company's working out of it's out of a hospital, their address. So how does Google not see this and flag them when I've heard, I think cousin Evans got it. I've heard other people through other businesses have gotten flagged and they're actually legit. And I'm thinking, how is this guy? I know this has been a year ago. And then he's got other locations around here in the state of Michigan that are also using fraudulent addresses. And so I'm like, all right, this is bullcrap. And then to charge this lady, I think the guy went out there, one of the techs went out for $200-300 and kicked out the dent and basically got her up and running. I don't know if he threw a strut on it or what. And she was tickled pink. But that could have been possibly one of those opportunities that you could have charged more, right? Because she already was primed for $4,000, a brand new door. Luckily, she was smart enough to not, cave on it. But I don't know, man. It's getting to be a little bit of a wild, wild west. But as long as you can, if your bills are low and you got money saved, that's the biggest thing. Because just remember, once you get out, you might have a swoosh, and then there's ups and downs. So it depends on your demographic too, how much competition and all that. Where you're gonna get your supplies? You gotta go an hour or 2 hours away to go get your supplies. You know, kind of weather. Like that threw a big old wrench, right? When we had this weather, that's really backlogged everything because the weather is just, you're spending 2 days trying to dig out vehicles and dig out pathways to everything and just try to make your way around town. Seems longer to go pro than garage. Yeah, 5 years compared to like 1. Yeah, probably. But I just think I think HVAC in my brain tells me, it screams more emergency than garage door. It's like my one buddy that passed away that used to do garage doors. He always said, it's always funny. He says the HVAC guys, the heater guy, they always get paid, but we always get screwed. You know, and it's like, you know, and somebody just got a new furnace, and you know what I mean? It's like you're kind of at their mercy because they can pass or fail a furnace and their inspection, and it can kind of make your life kind of a pain. Experienced on garage doors. Hello in Columbia. Hello. A lot of this fan. Hopefully that fan doesn't make too much noise. Different trades: plumbing, electrical, high, low voltage, carpentry, some roofing for HVAC. Oh yes. That sounds like good stuff right there. Especially for a young buck, dude. That stuff is like you can just do so much with that stuff. You know what I mean? I think, especially if you're young. William. What's up, William? Like it, but it's hard on the body. Oh, I'm sure. And imagine lifting up those units or being on top of rooftops and stuff. Oh, it's all good stuff, man. I love all the stuff Richie, he always sends me stuff about the HVAC and the problems, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm sure it's 2 or 3 times harder than the crap that we even deal with. Like, at least we deal with little garage door openers, right? And you know how I am. I'm like shaking a crystal ball, and then I just smash it. I'm just like, oh, I'm like, you don't want to work a little opener? Fur! Put that back in the box. Shove it back in the box. Taking it back to the store. You take it back to the store. Little girl smiling at you. How can I help you today? Take this piece of crap back. They want to send me parts. Screw them. I ain't getting no freaking parts. I'm getting this done today. I'm moving on in my life. I got things to do. And can't really do that with a furnace, you know, or a big air conditioner unit on top of a roof. Can bypass it. Employed a company that's part of incorporated group. What's up, Burke? Uncle Dave. Laura says, are you okay? I hope so. Let me pinch myself. Yeah, I'm okay. I'll be all right. I have to know how to fabricate sheet metal. And see, that was always something my actual Uncle Ron did. He was a big gosh, what was the place called? Well, it was called Bauer. It was Bauer Sheet Metal. Man, they did all kinds of stuff. Man, he was good. Like, he made the whole back end, like fixed the whole back end of a truck. You know, like one of those utility box trucks. And he was just good. You know, I don't think I'd be that good where it's all the dimensions and stuff like that. I could do it with enough time, but I'd be slow. But he was good at bending metal and all that. They made some ductwork stuff there too, I know, for some of the bigger stuff. They just did it all. And that's pretty cool, man. I always liked metal class. I always remember in metal class, you know, bending, we make little trays or something like that. It was fun, man. With like a brake, bending stuff over. I always enjoyed that. Flew under the radar on Google without a business number for a while. Once I got it, the suspension I got went away. Oh, nice. That works out good. I know they flag you for all kinds of different stuff, it seems like. And I mean, this guy's got like, he's got like 117 reviews. And I'm just like, and he's charging like little ladies $4,000 for a 9x7, and then wants $2,000 down right now. Sounds a little fishy. Um, I don't know. You know what I mean? Something just seems wrong. Okay, what was to say? Already involved in trades, family. I think I could learn with another, could launch and learn, start up with around 25. Yeah, it just all depends on what you got. You know, that's why I'm always trying to like, this is just, this is my opinion. So don't sue me, bro. But you know, when I'm telling the younger guys, I'm looking at it because I've been on this earth for, I don't know where it's been. It's either 41, 42. I don't think I'm 43 yet, but I'm over 40. I know that. So let's just say 40 years, right? Woman math. And looking back on the business, you know what I mean? I always felt this, but I had nobody telling me this. And I look at it now and I go, nope. I go, nope. I go, you got to take care of the garden. And what's the garden? The garden is your business. Because without the business, you die. That's just how it works. No food, no water, you die. You're gone, you perish. So the garden is super duper important. In the garden, you make the garden big enough. Other people, neighbors and other surrounding workers, employees, they feed off the garden too. But you all have to tend to the garden. One person has to water, one has to fertilize, one has to talk and sing to them, one has to pull the weeds. There's a lot of things with business. A lot of invasion, birds, rabbits, insects, natural disaster, fire, you know, drought. Um, so it's a garden. And but if you start out with, you know, bad soil or bad intentions, or maybe you already got a tribe, you know, of 1,000 people, and you're trying to come to this garden that's a half an acre, that little garden ain't gonna support y'all. And that's why I kind of think of like, if you have like all these bills, right? Like you go out and buy the fancy stuff, whatever it might be, motorcycle, boats, big trucks, lots of overhead, lots of, you know, I bought a big house because I'm making money. That stuff slows you down. Those are not assets. Those are liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. That's all you got to think about. That's all you got to think about. So yes, if the business is doing semi good, you know, do you need to buy the new truck? Maybe not. Maybe you can buy a used truck. You know what I mean? And if you can repurpose it, you know, maybe if you gotta use it kind of for personal / with business, you do what you got to do. But just to go, well, if I get, you know, but if I get that new truck, I'm gonna get all this. You might get a little bit. I'm not saying you're not gonna get a lot. But most people, depending on your demographic, don't care. They don't care. Just how cheap can you do it? When can you be here? What's it gonna cost? Fix it. You know, some people just fix it. You know, it just all depends. And if you have the confidence, you can normally get away with a lot. Like I said, it always blew my mind. It always made me think, right? That big builder, this big builder around here, the big steel buildings, right? Whatever they are, thousands of feet by thousands of feet, whatever width, all this concrete, right? And this dude drives around in a minivan. No stickers, no advertising. But when that dude pops out of that car, oh my gosh, you watch out, because he knows his stuff. He's like, you know what I mean? He knows his stuff. The customers, I walk with the customers to the building with them before and that, they don't care. They're just asking questions. So what's going to get done here? Can we make a change here? Do we really have to have that there? And he's like, yep, we'll get that fixed. We'll do this. We're not doing that. We'll have to do a change order. It's going to cost more. So it's just all different levels of stuff. Let's see. Would you recommend recommend I start a garage door business sooner or take the time to apprenticeship different skill trades at my age? I guess it depends on kind of what age. You know, I think I mean, cousin Evan would be kind of good for this because he's kind of just into it, but he hasn't gone through the waves either, right? Right now it might be busy, and hopefully it stays busy and just stays saturated. His market might handle that, right? But maybe depending on city and state and all that, well, he's got provinces and stuff like that, so I'm sorry. But you know, let's say 2 or 3 more garage door companies move in. Dang, man, stuff, you know, a little more saturated, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of variables. You really should do your homework. You know, that's the big thing, you know, because I ain't gonna lie. When I started, man, I just kind of was like, boop, I bopped in, right? And then it's like, oh, like, where do I get openers? Oh, where do I get garage doors? Oh, where do I get that? Oh, this vendor's actually better, but they're a little bit farther away. That's why for me, you know, I was talking about on Papa Tony's channel, which you should always check out. Check out Tony's garage door service. Good dude. He was just on a little bit ago. He's in the comments right here. He said something about hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. But and if you dislike, hit it twice. But anywho, he was talking about some of the I lost my train of thought. But anyways, he was talking about some of the stuff that I was going to talk about that I forgot what I was talking about. I don't know. Like I said, it just it can all change on you. It's a revolving door. It can be challenging. That's why me personally, as I have evolved, it's not that it's bad or anything, and you got to make a living, right? You got to do stuff. I personally like the other kind of doors. I like the real estate doors because there's no challenge. Once you own it, you own it. And if you bought it right, you just put people in, and people always need that. They haven't found a way to make AI tents yet, so you just own the doors, and you don't have to advertise because there's just a line of people, and you got a good property manager. And yeah, you got to deal with some problems here and there. And I mean, I think tomorrow, you know, might be dealing with the toilet, but at least the toilet still works, and at least they're still paying their bill. I don't know. For Uncle Dave, easiest part. What's that? Dog seems flasher. Yeah. Yeah. What's his name there? Sorry, no insult. Rusty. Rusty's exactly right. The little bit that I have done, I got a customer that still hasn't been billed. It's probably been almost about a week and a half. And it was basically my customer through AFD, but I had to adjust the price. But now got to make sure the customer pays, right? And that's the stuff, man, that goes crazy, right? Because you gotta be out there, you know, generating the work. You got to go out there and, you know, that's why they always say you wear many different hats. So you got to advertise. I mean, you got to be the salesperson. You got to go out there and kiss the butt. You know, I can do this. I can promise this. I'm better. I got the nicer truck. I got this. I got that. I'm dirtier. I'm scrungier. I got stinky armpits. I can do it. I can do it. You do all this, right? You know what I mean? And you never know. You still can give them a price. And they're like, yeah, you're too much. Or I like you. Or if you don't collect half down, right? Oh, that sounds good. Let's go ahead and get that. And then 2 weeks later, they call you, yeah, I just went to the store and bought one and put it in myself, so I don't need that. And you're like, what? What? You know, so then you got to have the system, and you got to have, you know, you get half down, and then you got to have your stuff where it's, you know, if they don't pay, because out of the couple customers, I call bull crap on this, right? I call bull crap. And I see we got 10 likes. So thank you so much for hitting the like button. I'm losing out my precious sleep for this. So I hope you enjoy. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. But I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about, like, well, residential, you always get paid. And I was like, there's like that one guy that does it. He's like, do you really? Like, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, do you really always get paid? Because I don't. And I mean, like, I try as best I can. But I had one guy, he's looking for his mom's check because mom's going to pay. And he's like, I can't find mom's checkbook. And I'm like, that's cool, man. I trusted him. I'm like, we'll just send you a bill in the system. And he paid, but I had to check. I had to check it again to make sure. I was like, you know, a couple days later, it's like, hey, could you get in the computer system and make sure that guy paid? Which he did, but I didn't get paid that day. And then I was just at another one. I jumped in with one of the techs, and I know they paid half, but the customer didn't pay the other full because they were heading to a funeral. Like, how are you supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, they were like on their way out. Like, you could tell, like, holding the kid, we got to go, like, right now. We got to go to a funeral. And it's like, you know what I mean? So we, forget the funeral, cut me a check right now, you know? So they were leaving, and then it was, hey, we gotta get the code and stuff for the keypad. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and then if you do commercial, and money can sit longer. There's ways you can play it, but it's just, it's a weird riddle, man. It's weird. Like, how do I say it? Like, I'm not trying to bash because everybody's got to make a living and stuff, but when I look at it sometimes I go, God darn, why garage doors are kind of silly, that there's so many variables, where it's like a grocery store. Yeah, they got to deal with theft a little bit, but you pay before you go out that door, and it's all like under a box, under surveillance, and it's like all heated and controlled and that. And I know they got a whole bunch of variables too, but they got a lot more volume. Paperwork, taxes, insurance, and phone calls. Yeah, and one is, like, I was looking through the phone system for them. There's this missed call. I've been noticing there's missed calls. We can't figure out where the hell those missed calls go to. Like, they go to nobody's line. So where are these missed calls going? You know what I mean? There's just all these things. There's always, variables. You know what I mean? You got problems. You got mechanical problems. You got openers that keep changing on you, and you think you have a good one, and then they change things on you. You think you got a good product of a door lineup, and then they change the models. They sunset. That's always a big one, right? They sunset a product. And so you go to order, you're like, oh, you just need a couple panels. You go to the customer. I remember Wayne Dalton. Good darn Wayne Dalton. You sons of biscuits. But they'd get me sometimes. I remember they put this little asterisk or whatever you call it, like a little star in their brochure. But it was this tiny little star in the corner or whatever, right? And that meant that was that was called like Mount Hope or something. That was built in another state across the country. So you couldn't get that. So I remember one time I got this customer, right? I worked this customer. I'm like, oh my God, you want ranch? Yeah, ranch and tin? Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can do it non-insulated. Yeah. Then I come find out, I go to a place to order. The vendor's like, we don't do non-insulated in ranch. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, yeah, you have to go insulate. I'm like, what? I already told the customer price. I already got half down. And so now I got to eat. I eat this like $100 or whatever it is. I don't think it was quite $200. But I eat it because I don't want to go back to the customer. So then I go to the customer, and when the time comes, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I install the door, and I'm like, oh, like, here you go. Like, they're like, oh, is that insulated? I'm like, yeah, it's insulated. We upgraded you. They didn't have it non-insulated. Is that okay? They're like, oh, wow. And I'm like, yeah. And my kids are going to eat ramen noodles tonight. Why do they even put that in the stupid brochure? So then you have to re-educate yourself. You have to educate everybody at work's like, hey, in that brochure, look for that little star Don't do it. Don't do it. That's a no-no. We can't even get those. Yeah, they're in here. You can get them in another state, but you can't get them here. Little wound up. What's up, Freeze? Ooh, yes, it's true. I've heard for the Amazon business, I'm trying to find the best trade to dive into at the moment. Yeah, I don't know if there's really. I mean, garage doors are good. They're pretty simple. It's not too much if you're doing small stuff. You know, it's nothing too crazy. You don't have to go in people's houses. You don't have to take your boots off or wear little muckies or whatever. I mean, sometimes you do if you're gonna have to. You know, the door's broke and they don't got a man door. For the most part, you're kind of in a cool area. You know what I mean? Like when I just helped one of the techs at a job, man, it was like 20 degrees outside. It was freezing. You go inside, it was like another 10 degrees warmer just to get out of the wind. And it was like, woo! It's like, you know, it's nice to have that little windbreak to go inside. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big, I'm trying to think if I did anything before. I did mattresses for like one day. And like being around people's underwear and like going up and down stairs with all their pictures and trying to like drag like a mattress up the stairs is like, and especially when you got somebody that's like built like a freaking like a monster tree, and he just lifts everything with one hand. He's like, "Come on, Pansy." He's like, "I don't know what your problem is." I'm like, "I know what my problem is. You don't like to work as a team." I'm like, yeah, like I'm not dragging this thing up by myself. I do it every day. Good. You don't need me then. Yeah. And so I only made it one day because, so. Oh, Miami. Oh, dude, just stay in Miami. Miami. What's that song? I'm trying to think of it. I got it in my head. It was like what, 90s? Miami. I don't know. Yes, travel safe. Ooh, trade. Yeah, they have fun. Fun doing. Whoa, some bright lights. Upselling. Yeah. Oh, it gets worse, brother. Oh, something you enjoy. It's not like work. It's true. Do real estate, says, but I'm probably gonna do it when I get to be an old fart. Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, you know, I mean, it's all got its problems, but it's just so much different when you're on the other side. It's like you see, how do you explain it? It's like weird. I feel like when you do real estate, I feel like you're looking at yourself when you were like a young lad. You know what I mean? Like I just had that one guy come and he was doing like a bathroom remodel, you know, and this guy's just like, he's like got his pencils and he's like, "Oh, we can do this and we can do this and we can do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, like I don't need all the fuzzies, dude. Just give me the freaking numbers." You know what I mean? And you know, he's going through like the whatever colors and stuff. I'm like, "Dude, it's a rental. Like just like make it white. Like whatever you think is the most durable." And he's like, "Okay, I won't get this all fluffy." And then he gives you like your total or something, and it's like, all right, you know, like, you know, and this guy was like super high strung, like way too high strung, like, but it's just weird. Like I said, like it just feels like it's weird how you got so many options, but when you're in the trades, it's like you have no options when it comes to the customers. Like you're at their mercy, right? You got to show up, you got to be there at a certain time, you're 5 minutes late, you know, you do everything to try to, you know, and then you maybe do or don't get the job. It's just like so much, you know, that you got to do. You got to get that, you know, it's like watching the phone thing, right? I was investigating and I'm like, why is there missed calls? I'm like, why would there be missed calls when you actually have that phone should be going through three phones. And I think now it's going to be a fourth. But it's going through three different phone lines. How is that? And then when you can't find it, Is that because it lost internet connection? Is that because, like, what is that? What is that? You know, there's just a lot of different variables. A lot of different variables. It's just so much. It's so wild compared to other stuff I've done for business. I can't even explain it. It's just, you know, then you got to go do it. You got to do a good job. You hope the customer, the vendor gave you a good product. You know, and then it's like, no, it's got a dent. Oh my gosh. I've had two recently. One was with the rich bee door, the brown seal. I don't know for sure. I do believe I cut it. I can't remember, but I just know I looked down and it had a split in it, about yay big. It wasn't broke off, but it was cracked. And I was like doing like the whole 6, 7, like my kids now, you know, and I'm like sitting there like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I'm like, it's got fake 45s. I'm like, shove it up in there. Nobody's ever going to see it. And by the time you get your other piece, like it's going to help support it. And nobody will ever know. But I got Hawkeye Grandpa here. Super great dude. And, you know, so I did it. Because I was like, dude, I don't, you know, do I just call it? And then I go to another one, the tech. I just helped the tech. And he's telling me about the weather seal had ripples in it. But I'm assuming they changed it out. But they didn't change it out. But I should have still been looking. It was my fault. And I'm trim nailing it. And then I realized it's got ripples in it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why? And of course it was a Clopay. And then the Clopay had some weird ripples in the back of the thing because it's only, what's the 9130? It's got some weird, and I'm just like, why? Why do I have to deal with this? Why is this, you know, and I kept thinking, if it was a rich bee door, we would have just stole the weather seal. We got plenty of the Wayne Dalton stuff. So Clopay's got a little bit different. And so luckily I found one through the scrap in a sense, but, and of course it's a blizzard that day. Variables. And then I got one for you. I got the riddle. I got one that came through the old Facey book. And this guy's like, I don't care about gas. He's like, I'm not getting on a ladder. He just had some kind of surgery. I forget what it was called on there. And I'm like, do you go down there? It's down in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Now I have another customer that would like me to stop by down there and look at his gate, I think, if he didn't get it fixed. So do you make a day trip out of it? Because there's a topper down there that I've been having my eyes on, but I don't know if I want to really, you know what I mean. And then he's got to just freaking he's like, and he sends me the picture of the door, which was really great. It looks kind of like a heavier door. It looks like maybe a 10x7, 10x8. I didn't really scan it too hard. And then he's like, one spring is broke, the other spring's all coiled up really funny. And he's like, you know, if you bring one for this door, he's like I know what springs on that door, because it's an odd door. It ain't no non. It's like, it looks like it could be a wood door with metal backing, or a standard. It was a hollow door with somebody put metal backing and painted it green. The whole thing's green. And I'm like, he's like, so if you bring the one springs, he's like, you might as well bring the others. And I'm like, mother fudgers. I'm like, I gotta bring like 10-foot raw springs. I have no clue what you got, buddy. I gotta have, like, where's that trailer? Where's that trailer, man? I need to have a trailer. You can just make the springs, because I'm just like, I need a slew. Because I hate to go down there. And then now I gotta go, you know what I gotta do tonight? My everybody's sleeping. I'm joking here. But I gotta look at his location. Luckily he did give me the city-ish. And then I gotta look up my competition. Yeah. I gotta go down there and make friends with somebody, possibly, if I don't get something right. So I hope there's a damn big old vendor down there, right? Otherwise, I'm probably gonna have to go down to Papa Tony's and be like, help, please. I'm trying to make a sale. I need that $20 to get back. Oh, man. Every day. Should you enjoy work, but also don't plan on tools. Yeah, tools forever. That's a good way. You know, I ain't doubting that. It's hard. It's hard to build a good system. It's doable. It's doable, but it's just it's nice to have options. Definitely nice to have options. want to be the enforcer. Yes, you do. I was running down, chasing money at 7:30. Oh, chasing money at 7:30 this morning. Yep. A lot of that stuff happens, man. It's like I said, I don't do this as much as I used to. And I'm sitting here just a few jobs I touch, and I'm just like, motherfudger. I'm like, this dude's like looking for his checkbook. I think he's legit. And he's like, I can't find my mom's checkbook. And I'm like, can't find your mom's checkbook? Well, try a little hard. Look under the mattress. And then, it's like I go to this other guy, and then he's like sitting there looking at the parts, and he's like, you could reuse these parts. He's like, did I get a discount? And I'm just like, I think so, but I can't. And I'm just like, dude, I'm an installer right now. Like, I'm not like financial person, so I'm like, let me just like, we'll figure it out. We'll get you handled here. So we had to adjust the price, and then it's like the wife of Tron comes and she's like, am I just deducting the whole thing? Like the whole spring? I'm like, hell no. I'm like, you ain't deducting the whole spring. I'm like, you got labor. I was like, I don't know why it is. I still haven't found the magical video on it, but it's like, for some reason, I don't know what it is. Can somebody please explain it to me? But it's like people understand labor. It's like when you say, well, we got 2 hours of labor. It's like they understand that. They're like, oh, I understand. Okay, so, and it's, how much is it? It's 85, 120. Okay, that's no problem. I understand. Labor is labor. You should get paid. I get paid hourly. I don't know what it is. I'm genuinely asking. But it's like you add material in there and they're just like, what is this? What is this? What is this? You got labor and material? I could buy, you're charging me $10 for a light bulb? This is insane. I could go to the store and get one for 50 cents. So I told her, I was like, hell no, I was like, you can't give the spring. I was like, we already had labor out there. I said, you can take off whatever, $100 or something for maybe material. I said, but you got to leave the labor, man. I said, hell, we got a couple hours wrapped up in there screwing around. I said, they should understand that. We did them a favor. But it's just all these little, I think that's why the guy always told me that was in another business. He's like, I don't know how you do it. And he goes, I'd rather sell, he says, cookies and lemonade. And he says, if somebody complains, well, he goes, grab the damn cookie, too bad, and that's it. You know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes I'm like, it does seem that way, right? Like, here's the product, you buy it, you take it, whatever. Like, that's why I think sometimes when the vendor has a better, like, could you imagine, right? I mean, think of like, nobody here is beating like LiftMaster or Chamberlain. Nobody, they got billions of dollars or whatever. They're doing marketing and all this crap, right? And they just send this crap product out. Even Genie sometimes, all these places, right? They send this product out and they're like dealing with all these tech supports and problems. They're just like, oh, we're sorry. We'll send you another circuit board. It cost us 50 cents. We charge 140 bucks. We'll send you another one. Good luck. And you're like the guy. I forget the word, the wife of Tron. If I come across it, I have to remember. But we are like the end, I forget how it is. We are the end user installers or something like that. And you know how hard that is? Like, do you really know how hard that is? Do you know how hard it is to go out there and put your life on the line and try to make the sale and do all this stuff that you and then you finally, you get the, you get the job, right? You get the job, yay! And then it's like, now you got to get half down, right? That's if everything goes good. They don't send you a bounce check. The credit card doesn't get redacted. They don't give you phony money, right? Printed Monopoly money. Well, it's all printed. What am I talking? But anyways, yeah, sorry. So then you got to make the order, right? And then sometimes you deal with the order. You order and they sit there and they're like, are you going to order this now or you order it next week? Because next week we have a price increase. And you're like, what? You're like, yeah, order it now. And then or it turns into you order it. Or like when the cost center was going on, they can't get this order in or all this other variables. We're going to be closing down for this day for inventory. We have to do inventory. So it's going to be another week before, and you're like, I just told the customer it's going to be 2 weeks. Now you say it's going to be 3. Son of a biscuit. So then you deal with that. Then there's still more. You still got to deal with the customer. It's got to come in, right? I've had it where I got a call from the vendor one time. The truck rolled over. So the whole product was all destroyed. Everybody's stuff was all destroyed. So now we have to wait another 2 to 3 weeks. And I got to call all the customers. Hi, Mr. Customer. No. Hey, the truck that had your door, it rolled over on the highway because of bad weather. Sorry. So, And then you got to deal with the product showing up, and you get, when you see that, you know how it is. When you see the new driver, and you're like, oh, fudge. Good, bad, and then he's out there and he's like chucking it, right? He thinks it's like OSB plywood, I mean? He's like, I was a roofer. And he's like chucking the stuff. You're like, stop, dude. You're damaging my stuff. I'm the end installer, dude. Like, I gotta be there with the customer. And like, what's wrong with my new door? Why has it got this? Why has it got scratches? And you're like, I got touch-up paint. And they're like, I don't want touch-up paint. I want a new section. You're like, I got touch-up paint. So, you know what I mean? Then you do all the work, and then we sit there almost like little homeless people, right? Begging. Can I get the rest of my money? And they're like, well, it's Christmas time, and so I'm a little bit short on fundies. Don't you guys do you do senior military? I mean, something, right? I mean, and I mean, you used my ladder. I seen you use my ladder. I should get, and I gave you a light bulb, and you're just like, I could take $100. That was my profit. I could take $100 off. I'm playing around. Have a little fun here. Works, yeah, it never works like that. I don't get paid. Full time. Good. Still feels weird being in control. Future. Yep. I'll pilot with regular job. It's cool. It's called freedom. I like that. Just do Clope. I carry the feeling to Morgan Freeman fell at the end of was it Redemption? I can't. Was that Shawshanks? Huh. I'm gonna have to send me that clip. Eric, I moved over to be a Clope only guy as well. Where's Tanner to hear this? Tanner was still working. He sent me a little video. He's all still hanging. Seeing how next time pick up a door. Absolutely. To say his name 3 times like Beetlejuice before he shows up. That's a good one. I like that. Oh, Tanner's here. See? He took a break. Over 20 feet. 0 start. Yeah, there you go. 20 feet. Yeah, touching. Oh, man. 20 foot. There. I'm doing Clope from now on. Watching Ohio State wrestling meet. Oh, yeah, Evan. Going to reach out to Clope next year when our new shop is built and see if they want to drop. Heck dear, they have. Ooh. Business owners, what are your thoughts on implementing AI into your trades company? I think the big thing what'll be nice, I think will start happening, is you can start doing, I think, your secretarial stuff to some degree. You know what I mean? I don't know how good it's going to go, for how far it's going to go, but I think you could, that could be a big help. When you're starting out, the secretary start, where you could have AI start at least asking and start maybe directing a little bit to take that cushion off you, you know what I mean? Or that pressure off you in the field. That was a lot of work, man. I remember when I was answering the phone and in the field. And then I always remember my business partner. I'd go out with jobs with him to help, and he was always like, he's like, why the hell do I even bring you? He's like, all you do is stand over in that corner on the phone. And I'm like, I know, dude. Like, well, this guy wants this, and then of course this got broke, and when we did this install, something else was going on. We got to look at something else. So, thank you, secretaries, is what I'm trying to say. You're godsend, and you guys do an amazing job. Time of day to do it, or have to hire someone. What's weird too is what I've been hearing. A guy told me, a handyman, that I don't know exactly how he did it, and I've been seeing advertised now. But anyways, he was doing, I think he was taking pictures, and then he gave it just some few dimensions or whatever, and he said it came pretty close. It told him how much drywall, I bet garage doors are going to be way easier. I bet we're going to be able to take a picture and it's going to tell you what the average price of it. Because I mean, think about it. They're getting all this data now through Jobber and through Service Titan, so they can see. I mean, the insurance companies pretty much already have it. I know they do. You know what I mean? So they're going to have all this information where you're going to be able to take a picture of a garage door and it's going to generate something. Maybe it'll generate an estimate through Jobber or whatever that'll say, you know, we're going to estimate. You know, it's kind of weird, right? I, I'm a conspiracy kind of person a little bit, so you know, put your tinfoil hat on. But I messed around today actually. I put a spring, right, a garage door spring, on Facebook. It's been on there for a little while. Put it for like $60 or something, and then we install it. Just playing around. I like to see what things are and algorithms and stuff. Well, all of a sudden it had to become up for renewal or something. It's been on there for whatever 7 days. It asks you, do you want to renew or something, blah blah, or have you sold this thing? No, blah blah. It had this AI draft, right? And I was like, I wonder what this is. It says AI draft your something. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do AI. And it says it'll take your 4 pictures, and it just kind of said something. I didn't really read it that good. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I clicked on it. I looked through my post, and I went, I don't see nothing changed. I went, maybe mine's not good enough for it. I just thought, whatever. So I let it go. Out of doing the AI, which I have no doubt that Meta, Facebook, whatever, is pushing, like, oh, look, now that you let us generate it for you, we use the right verbiage of dumbness so it says on there now, it says that what did it say? It said something about metal garage doors, torsion springs slightly used. That's not what I would put on there. I'm not putting that slightly used springs. They're brand new garage door torsion springs. What the hell? Slightly used, and then it dropped my damn price down to $40. I didn't change it. It was $60 a piece. And I'm like, what the hell? But out of a half a day, now there's 3 people, might even be 4, that contacted me through there. And they're asking way different stuff. Not even just to purchase the spring. It's like, hey, do you install this? And it's like, yeah, we install them. And of course, it took out the price of what we installed. You know what I mean? So it's like they're gonna pour, like, so why wouldn't I, like, whatever it did generated more leads? You know what I mean? Are they gonna turn into good leads? Probably not. But I'm just saying it made activity where it was like, oh, there's nobody really responding. So, like, I always knew this, like with eBay. I used to do some eBay stuff back in the day, and I could find certain words, same product, everything, but there was certain verbiage that would click, and you get a lot of hits on. You know what I mean? All it took is a certain couple verbiage, things to change. So I think there's something with this AI. I don't know. You know what I mean? And they could be pushing it too, because they're just like, we're gonna make this guy feel all big because he's gonna use our AI or something. So we'll make sure he gets more. I know they got the boost. They want you to pay. That's money they want you to pay. Mostly deal with Wayne Dalton. Everyone around here is Wayne Dalton. Porter Centers, Random Doors, CHI, Midland, Safeway, and old wood doors. Hope that fan's not too much noise in the background. Let's see. I still have to add a note on my website to have people check their spam. They send their submission through my site. Ooh. Yeah, just kind of another variable that happens. I know it's tough. Too old school, and just like Rusty said, too busy, don't care enough about AI. What's it say? What's up, Tanner? Need a step fan? Hanging out with the dog, thinking about making peanut butter and jelly. Make sure if you make me a peanut butter and jelly, I like the crunchy. I like the crunchy peanut butter. I'm kind of hooked on it. The kids like it. I like it too. So I want the crunchy. I don't want that creamy stuff. Give me the crunchy. I like a little crunch. And I like strawberries preserves. All right. So just like more preserves better. I like to get a few seeds in my teeth. You let me know, too, Uncle Dave. I'll help you out. All right, all right. He's coming down there, pleading for springs. Uh, I know. I don't want to use. I always had this feeling. Like I was talking this with one of my kind of a sales guy, I guess, back in the day, and we were always talking about it. He's like, I would never take the mark of the beast or something, kind of all this stuff. And I mean, I'm kind of with you. But I told him, I said, what's going to happen though? I said, if you start wearing, I think what I was always going to is like glasses or like an implant or some sort. And I said, but the problem is, I said, you can't compete with the next guy. I said, because I said, let me put it to you this way. I said, why don't you run your business with a typewriter? He's like, oh, yeah, that'd take forever. Exactly. Why don't you run your business with a fax machine? You know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff, we always don't think, right? But it gets pushed down us one way or another. You want to compete? You want to stay up with the times? You got to, I mean, I'm sure there was somebody back in the day when they coming off horse and buggy, right? And they're like, I would never drive no damn car with gasoline. That stuff could explode. And now we don't even think twice about it. You know what I mean? Now the big thing is these electric cars. They catch on fire. They explode. When they're on fire, you can't put them out, right? And then there's probably a day, I will never drive a car without leaded gasoline. That's what lubricates the pistons or something. I don't know. Now you can't even buy leaded gasoline. So no matter what, they're going to push you. And I know I'm seeing on the old interweb, they're pushing those glasses. That'll be the next, so now instead of having a Garmin or you're looking at you'll be just looking at your glasses going, I need directions to whatever, which I think is kind of weird because I don't know about you, but my voice command stuff always is off. I don't know if it's because I need to do like a voice recognition where I talk to it and tell it lullaby and it'll recognize. But I tell myself all the time and it'll be like wrong, on your spell check or whatever when it's doing it when you verbally talk to it, and I'm always like, yeah, we sent a man to the moon. What the hell, And so, I don't know. I don't know. And I was talking to somebody and we were talking about, what if they come out with AI robots? And I said, maybe. I said, but they're going to be super expensive. I said, at the time being right now. And I said, what happens when they lose Wi-Fi? They just freeze up. Now you got this robot. You're like, come on, man, wake back up. Come on, I need the Wi-Fi to kick in, or satellite or whatever. Would you hire someone? Yeah, I'd probably, if you get the right person, a few extra jobs a month, it would pay for itself. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to advertise. What I've noticed, and this is just me personally, is it's becoming extremely hard to find like anybody that's good. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to even go to a restaurant and get good service. It blows my mind when I heard they're talking about the local road commission around here that's plowing our roads, which thank you. But they got 13 new employees. That's not like to add on because that's like 13 different rotations of 13 new employees. I was like, God dang. And I thought, like when I used to plow and stuff, I mean, like there's like these guys know little tricks to make the truck run better, or how to bypass something, or how to scrape a road a little better, and you might wonder why did my road get plowed? Well, these, they ain't the seasoned vets that get in a truck and they know how that diesel runs, and they know maybe, hey, you don't push the gas pedal all the way down to make it go faster. You pull it up 3/4 of the way and it'll actually run faster for you, or cooler, all these little tricks, And I just feel like that's how like the world is changing, where we don't have that. Like, like when I used to run a mill or ran a press, I could make that thing run as darn near as efficient as you could. And so could the other guy that ran it for years, but you get a new guy in there and he's stuttering and it's like, come on, dude. It's like, you listen to the rhythm of the machine and you know how it works. And so I think we're stalling out in a lot of different areas in America, probably other places too, but because we have all this changeover and we just have so many loosey-gooseys now with stuff, and it's hard, right? Because nothing, I mean, it ain't like the old days where it's like you go get a pension and stay somewhere for the rest of your life and you get your pension. I mean, it's, you hear the stories all the time, somebody staying in a place, now they're closing just, 2 or 3 years before they're supposed to retire. It's sad. Talking about more copyright websites, enterprise AI reception, invoicing, etc. Yeah, I don't know how far some of that stuff goes because there's always like tweaking in there with some of the AI. You know, I mean, it can do some, but it's just sometimes there's still just little stuff that needs to be improvised. So I don't know how far. I mean, time will tell, right? It's going to be kind of interesting. It just definitely seems like this stuff is advancing faster and quicker and coming down our pipeline a lot quicker than anything. I mean, think about how phones really advanced, how fast they went from, computers, um, you know, so this stuff is it's like not 10xing, but it's doubling or tripling in speed. And then for whatever reason, like up in our area, we got these data centers that they are just pumping like crazy, and people are really against them. But I just keep hearing it on the news. They're thinking about doing a data center here. They're thinking about doing a data center here, and it's like now we got these things, those flock cameras. You've been hearing someone thinking about those, the ones that read your license plate. It's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're throwing this down on us just to surveil us because they're worried about their own people. I mean, forget the rest of the country, right? Worry about your own people, I guess, in your own country. That they're gotta make sure what they're doing. I have to hire a human. Currently working with, and you'd be surprised everything I list and more AI can do very efficiently, and it's improving every week. What kind of AI though? Are you using like chat GTP or something? I'm just kind of curious. Because I know one guy, he pays for it, right? I've dabbled with the free stuff a little bit, and it is pretty cool. It'll give you like, you can do like jingles and stuff. I'm very like amateur, so I haven't gone really hardcore into anything, but it is pretty cool for what some of the stuff it can do and help with or give you ideas. But I don't know. Jeremy using old stick and carrot trick. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely causing a big stir with the media. That's how it goes, though, right? If you control the media, you control the masses. So you always got to take it, just, I guess I kind of look at it a little bit, kind of like the electric cars, right? I remember I was thinking about it even, right? I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm thinking about doing it. And I was thinking like they were coming out with the electric trucks, right? Ford came out, they show that thing, it's all hyped up, and oh my gosh, and we could just think of all the power things we could run off that thing at a job site. Oh, it'd be great. And we already got, whatever it was, 300,000 or whatever it was, people signed up for delivery. And then it was funny how like they weren't delivering them, and you kept hearing numbers. I guess Ford's down to only 200,000, 100,000 decided they don't want them, or blah blah blah, and it came down and it came down. And then we talked about range anxiety, and then you start getting TFL truck and stuff like that. They start testing it, pulling a trailer only gets 80 miles, and it's like 80 miles. I'm like, that wouldn't even get me up to deer camp if you're pulling a trailer. And then what do you do when you're up at deer camp? Holy crap, man, you only got 110, barely. You know what I mean? On a little, whatever, thin, little thin extension cord. I mean, it'd take 2 weeks to charge the truck back up. That's to even get it back. And if it's cold, how do things work in the cold? So I think about the electric vehicles and how the decline has kind of happened, right? And they talk about these things are like cell phones, and nobody wants them. The resale on them is horrible. So AI feels like it's kind of the next. It's like another thing to be hyped up about. You know what I mean? And I don't know what it pushes. I don't know if it makes people buy more toilet paper because, oh my gosh, they're going to have more robots and then they won't make as much toilet paper. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I know it's doing something. I don't know exactly what, but it's doing something. It's always something. It's generating some kind of cash flow. That's the idea behind the stuff. Me too. Oh, crunchy. Oh yeah. Does not like it. I eat more of it than I do, so I just take what I can get. Yeah, I get that. Luckily, it's like preserves. Nobody likes the strawberry preserves. I like preserves. And my kids, though, they get spoiled because mom makes some homemade stuff, and so they always got to rub that in my face. I like the homemade stuff. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I don't like it's frozen. I gotta like take it out, like let it unthaw. Like I know how they do it. I think they run it on water. I'm too impatient, so I'm just like, I need to go in the fridge, like get it. But I think I like the Smuckers. because I think there was an off-brand. I just got the Myers. That one's not doing it. Then she bought some other ones that were okay. It was some like little farmer's market. It was all right. But the Smuckers, they got it down, man. They got enough sugar in there to make sure you get diabetes right away. And so, probably why I like it. Yeah, it's marriage. It's marriage. Yeah. If I have to put, what does it say? Doesn't get through to a person when I call home deeply because the voice. Oh yeah, yeah. I just sit there and tell them I want a human. I want a human. I want a person. Like, so I guess it's an even trade, pretty much same cost. Yeah, that's funny. Undivided. Trump. What's up? I believe the Ford Lightning got its. I know. I think you're right. I don't think the plant. I thought the plant's either shutting down or retooling. So I guess how did I? It's just it blows my mind. Like I said, all I can think of is it's a whole big game about shareholders. I honestly think it's part of what LiftMaster's doing. It's kind of one of those things. I don't feel like they care about us little guys. I don't get no phone calls. I don't get invited to go to the plant and give them my opinion or tell them, say, hey, I think your engineering on this is a little off. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's just stockholders, and we make a product, and it's either has more surveillance on it of some sort to either watch you or your family or the neighbors or whoever. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think they just finally were like, hey man, we've done this for whatever 2 years. We can't get nobody to buy this stuff. I mean, we're really losing a lot of money. Like we can't keep this boat afloat for much longer. We're gonna get in trouble. And so they finally said, all right, enough is enough. Oh, no way. I saw the Ford Lightning with wire hanging from the back. Oh, like, oh, I get it. Like off the hitch or whatever. Yeah, I felt like I've seen something like that too. I don't know if it was on a Ford Lightning though. That's pretty funny. Huh. Yeah. I always thought it'd be cool. I guess a place I used to work at, I was told, put in some of those stations. And I thought if it had a better battery system. This was very, very new when it was coming out. But I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, like the whole bottom end of a truck being battery operated. What I was thinking is wouldn't it be super cool? Like, and this would be perfect, right? If you were working at this shop that they put it in, I think it's free for the, I can't say for sure. I think it's free for the employees. So if it is though, could you imagine? Like you go to work, you plug your truck in. Now, I don't know what your family or kids or wife or whatever does the rest of the day. They live like the Amish. But you come home, right? And they're like, yay, daddy's home. We get electricity. And then you could plug your truck in, right? Because that's what they advertise. Your truck could power your house in a storm or something like that. But you take your truck, right? Now you got to fully charge from work. So you got another $20, $40, $60, I don't know, whatever it is, to charge your truck. You plug it in the house and you're like, here you go, kids. Here you go, wife. Now you can watch TV and you can run the blender. We can have the furnace running or whatever for the night being. And then in the morning, pull the plug again. Got enough juice just to get it to work. Every time they're like, man, Johnny's always, he must drive around a lot. Every time he comes to work, he's always plugged into the station. Or get yourself a power pack. There you go. Get yourself a trailer, big storage. And then you could rotate or something. I don't know, but anyways, I just kept thinking, I was like, that would be pretty cool. But then when I found out these batteries are, I don't think they're as good as whatever. They, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how long they would last running your house. I think those, what's that one company? Ego or something, Echo or something. I think those power packs might be better than, whatever you can get through and I don't know whatever happened. I thought Dodge was coming out with something. And the way Dodge was going to do it, it was almost like the motor was going to be running, but I think it could power the truck, but it would also charge the battery. And I thought, now that is the way to do it. Like, so you could have this thing, it's going to be charging up your power pack. Because, like, in my mind, I've seen a guy build one before. I was on YouTube, and he built his own electric car. It was like a little Geo or something. It was a small car. It wasn't a smart car, but he just had a little Bridge & Stratton that would charge a battery. I think he had lead based batteries in there, and so the little Bridge & Stratton would just sit there running idle normal, and it would charge the batteries, and he was running off the batteries. And I was like, duh. I was like that's the way to do it. Instead of, I know the hybrids, I guess they kind of work that way to some degree, but I don't know. Whatever Dodge was doing, I don't know if they ever came out. When I heard how they're advertising, I thought, now that sounds like a better way. I think they're running like actually a small 4-cylinder, but it was just going to be always charging the batteries and using the batteries. And I just thought that seemed like it made more sense to me, where I think the motor could be running, charging the battery. So if you're at a job site, you need power. They had a lot of power hookups. Instead of just, the concept of just fully electric, where it's like, you got that range anxiety, or I don't know. I have to check back into the Dodge, see if they're still doing that. Now everything's coming back out with the V8s. So who knows? Everything's changing so much. It's like nobody knows which way the stuff's going, up or down. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? So I couldn't tell you. It's just like trying to buy a new vehicle. I don't know what you could buy. Right? They all got problems right now. They're all having issues. So they're building them. Their planned obsolescence went too far. Just my opinion. All right, guys. I think I'm going to get out of here. I caught up in the comments, so we're good. Nothing night time, right? It was 11 something. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for all the comments. If you got anything, email me, text me, send me a pigeon. I never got a pigeon. If you can send me a pigeon, send me a pigeon. I'll give you $100 if you can send me a pigeon. I never got pigeon mail. So, all right. Keep your fingers. We'll see you later. Have a good night. Sleep tight.